What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Batter's Eye podcast. I'm here, Max is here. Big weekend this past weekend. Got our first really bit of live content, a little vlog that we're going to put out. Went to the Yankees game with Dan Sarmiento. Look him up on Instagram, look him up on YouTube. He's, great person. Got us all tickets, and then also managed to get only I was able to do this. I'm sorry, Max, and to the other person that we had there. Got me on the field for BP. Spoke with Lance McCullers a little bit. Gonna have him on in the future. That's gonna be huge. Spoke with Alex Bregman for just a second. Got a picture with him. Got a signed ball. Talk about a sick signature. Lance McCullers' signature is clean. Shit. Alex Bregman's signature is pretty clean too. But that was a really good weekend. Terrible game for Yankee fans. Sold, but we're not going to talk about it. We talk about that in the video, and you'll see that coming probably as recording this on Sunday night. So I would say probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday. But for this episode, we're going to have a big guest, Roman Kimball, Notre Dame pitcher. He also does a YouTube and big media guy, and then also one of the better relievers coming into college baseball this year as a freshman. So we'll hear what he has to say, talk about his experience and in Omaha, taking down Tennessee, and just, what he does to keep his arm in shape, because he throws 96 and he is 5'11". So that's really all we have to say for the intro, and let's go straight to hear from Roman. All right, guys. So now you are here with Roman Kimball, but I'm going to let him talk a little bit more about himself because I can't do that myself.
What's up, guys? I'm Roman Kimball. I'm going to be a sophomore right-handed pitcher at Notre Dame. I have a YouTube channel. I do a little stuff with social media as well, and I attended the 2022 Men's College World Series this year. So I guess it's a little small bio, I guess I'll give.
So, that's perfect for the bio, because that's exactly what we want to talk about. College World Series, Notre Dame, underdogs that shocked the world, took down number one Tennessee, and just, what's the takeaways? What's the three main takeaways, and then we'll get into the nitpicky stuff. What are you feeling like?
So, obviously, just to be in the tournament was a blessing, but we kind of felt that we got kind of screwed over a little bit with the committee. We thought we should have at least hosted a regional, and we thought that we possibly could have hosted a super regional. But we were the 17 seed. We didn't host, and we had to go play Georgia Southern at their place, and beat Georgia Southern and Texas Tech twice. Both of those teams were top 25 teams for the majority of the year. So we had to go through that, and then we had to go play Tennessee in Knoxville and beat them to get to Omaha. So we kind of felt that we had one of the hardest routes to get there out of any other team in the country. And but we kind of embraced that, and Coach Jarrett was very, very good with preparing us for what was going to come down the road. But obviously, like we did the impossible and we made it to Omaha. We didn't get the win, unfortunately, but it was still a great experience. And as a freshman, to be able to have that experience under my belt already, and hopefully we can continue that like dominance that we have the past 2 or 3 years, and continue that in the future.
Yeah. And what was that just like running out of that dugout? What's going through your mind? Like, 50, they were like 57 and 3 during the regular season or something like that.
Yeah, they were 53-7, heading into our series against them. Now when we won the regional, like, we were happy, but like we knew that we still had more business to be done. So like, just to be there in Tennessee, and the atmosphere there was one of a kind. Like, you have fans in the stands screaming at you and saying stuff about your family, and you got to still be able to focus on the game. So we fought really hard, and obviously the result was there, but running out of that dugout was probably one of the highest adrenaline moments I've ever had. And like, it was just like amazing. Like, I really can't even like explain to you guys what it was like, because you kind of just like black out in that moment. Like, you're running out. I was down in the bullpen, and I ran out of the bullpen, and all the guys are screaming, and like when things didn't really go their way, it was so quiet there because the fans just didn't really have any life. And once we had won, it was like dead silence, and all it was just us. Like, it was kind of like we were in our own realm. Like, it was amazing, and I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Like, so like as the underdogs, is there like a certain like mentality that you take in going to the game when, and after you actually beat Tennessee? First of all, I bet on Tennessee to win the whole thing. A couple podcasts ago, I was Tennessee will bounce back after game one, and I was so confident. And then then not too good for my bet after game three. But was there any like sort of like, I can't even believe this is like real. Like, we actually just beat 53-7 Tennessee in the College World Series.
Yeah. So for us, like I said, like, we felt like we got snubbed out of the spot to host, and like we kind of just felt that like we were the better team. And we just kind of had that mentality throughout the entire season, and we were just like, we're the better team, and we're just going to go take care of business. And I don't know if you guys follow any like the Irish media or anything, but they had like an interview a couple days before we went to Knoxville, and Ryan Cole, who was our left and center fielder, he kind of fluctuated throughout the year, but he said to the media, he's like, we're a dangerous team, and I think they should be a little scared. And all of Tennessee's fans like saw that, and they were kind of like clowning our team and stuff, because they were saying like, oh, like we're 53-7, like these guys are whatever, finished fourth in the ACC, and they're coming here thinking that they're gonna like destroy us. But in reality, like, that's exactly what we did in game one and game three. But yeah, that experience was just awesome. But like, kind of like what you were saying, like at the end, like once we had actually like accomplished that, like, and beat like arguably one of the best college baseball teams in the history of the sport, at their place too, it was definitely a surreal feeling of like, wow, we're really going to Omaha.
Mm-hmm. And now let's talk about Omaha. What was that like? What was it like just getting there, being there? You stayed there for, it was a couple of days, and playing there.
Yeah, so Omaha was like an incredible experience, and all the people there are so welcoming and supportive. Like Tennessee, like, was the exact opposite. Like I was saying earlier, like their fans were screaming at us and like swearing at us and talking about our families and stuff. And like all the fans there, like even opposing teams, were like, oh, like congrats, and like that was an amazing game. Like, even if we lost, like they were just like, oh, like congrats, like you guys played well. But I mean, obviously it wasn't the result you wanted, but like they were just supportive, and it was an awesome like group to be around. And like, obviously you're playing in front of 25,000 people. Like that's a dream come true for me. And just to be able to pitch in that setting was an absolute like dream come true. I can't even explain it. But like I said, like the job is not finished. I've still got at least 2 more years in college, and the goal is to win the whole thing. Like, one of our captains after the season was over was saying like their goal last year was just to make it to Omaha, and like they fell short of that against losing to the champions Mississippi State in the Super Regional.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, our goal this year is to win. So coming up short was definitely tough for us. And to see all the emotions from the older guys as a freshman is like, I'm like, wow, like I really don't want to have to go through this when I'm leaving. Like, I want to be able to win a national title and embrace like the feeling of that, and just know that we accomplished the impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and talk a little bit more about pitching that on that stage. What was it like just to walk up on that mound and do your thing? You had to throw. Now, obviously, it wasn't a loss, and I think you guys were down a couple runs at that point. But to throw a scoreless inning and to just keep you in that game somewhat and keep hope wavering in that game. What was that like, and what was it feeling just coming onto the mound and knowing that you had to do your thing right now? And
Yeah, dude, for sure. And so like I was warming up in the bullpen, and I was like I already had so much adrenaline built up. Then I actually went out on the mound, but like in that setting though, like for me, like it was literally just me and the catcher and the hitter. Once you're in that setting, you have so much adrenaline and you're so focused on what you're doing that the crowd just doesn't even exist anymore. And you're just like, all right, like it's me versus the hitter, and I'm better than him, and I'm gonna take care of business. And that's what I did in that inning, and it was awesome. And just to be able to like bring some energy and try and fuel the guys up to try and hopefully come back and win, which we obviously didn't, but like I pitch with a lot of emotion. I don't know if you guys have seen me throw more than just Omaha or not, but like I pitch with a lot of emotion. So to be able to come into that scenario with guys on base and be able to work out of it, I was pretty amped up. And just trying to get some energy to the guys to try and come back. Because I think it was like the 8th inning I came in. I don't even remember, to be honest, but
Yeah, I think it was the 8th inning, and you guys were
yeah.
down 5 or 6.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, but that was just awesome. So just to be able to come into that setting and get the job done was awesome.
Yeah. Max, go ahead, because I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that pitching.
Well, you basically covered it all up. Aiden was telling me that he messaged you about the bananas, and I was really interested because I was watching that, and I was like, so I hate bananas, but it's just like a weird, quirky thing. I was just wondering if you could tell us more about what was that all about.
Yeah, so the rally bananas. One of our guys actually, I think, interviewed with BR Walkoff and was talking about it, but I don't think he really got the story right. So I think that like we were down in Statesboro because that's where it started, was in the regional. And I think a couple of our guys were just eating bananas and it just kind of caught on and we had a good inning. So we kind of stuck with it. And then I think it was like a insurance run thing, maybe like in the last inning, if we were up and we needed a couple runs, they would bring out the rally bananas. But yeah, I don't really know too much about it because I'm down in the bullpen for most of the game. But I do know it has something to do with the Statesboro Regional. I think it was maybe when we were playing Georgia Southern and Zach Prasner hit a home run, and I think it tied the game. And I think that's when the bananas started. I'm not 100% sure though, so don't quote me on that.
We won't, but I mean, yeah, I think I texted you. We did we did an interview with a kid that night, and then we were talking about you guys against Tennessee, and then I told him, I was like, yeah, I know someone who's playing on Tennessee. We'll get him on after the region and after the, whenever the tournament's over for you guys. He was like, so talk to him about the bananas. I was like, okay. I sent you a message. I think you got back like instantly. I was like, okay, sounds good. I'll tell him, but we'll talk about it. It was funny. I was like, I knew the bananas or something.
I think it was trending on Twitter for a little while, and I think it was all over Instagram. I know that, and then like Notre Dame, like our social media guys, like started posting about it a little bit. So it caught a little fire on social media, which was pretty cool, and a lot of people got a kick out of it.
Yeah, it was funny. I like that. Yeah, it was just like it was something like that kind of caught fire and just brought something to the team.
Yeah, and it sparks the game. Like people find that stuff enjoying, and that's what's going to grow the game nowadays. So it's good that there's stuff out there like that, and that people like outside of the game like notice that kind of stuff. So it can grow and more people can see it, which is cool.
Yeah. So now we talked a little bit about College World Series. Let's talk about the transition from high school to college. So in high school, you came out as the number 3 player in the state of New York and committed to Notre Dame. And, what was that change like going from high school ball in New York and to going to ACC ball?
Yeah, so my senior year of high school, I actually transferred down to a school in South Carolina. It was like an academy thing. It's like an all baseball school. So we were in a conference it was us, a team from North Carolina, a couple teams from Florida, and then a team from Georgia. So it was a conference of 5 teams, and we'd basically like travel one series, like we'd play a 3-game series at their place, and then they'd come to us and play a 3-game series like throughout the course of the year. So we probably played, let's see, 24 conference games. So, and like these academies that we were playing were, they were pretty stacked. Like we had a lot of guys, who were going Division 1. I think we had 14 Division 1 commits on our team. So, and then, one of the kids on the, TNXL Academy from Florida was the 2nd-round pick by the Mets last year in the draft, Calvin Ziegler. So there was a lot of talent there, and I obviously had to go away from home and live in an apartment with a couple of my teammates. So the transition, like I guess that was kind of more of the transition for me than like graduating high school and going to college, because I had already had a whole year under my belt of like cooking my own meals and like doing laundry for myself and having to like go to the grocery store and buy stuff for the whole week and just like kind of living on my own without my parents. So I feel like that adjustment was tough in the beginning. It was definitely like a nice like 2-week adjustment period, I think, for me to kind of overcome that like sense of like, oh, hey, like I've got to do this and like I have to get it done before a certain day or whatever. And like, because like once you're on your own, like you obviously got to do everything for yourself. But it was nice to have some roommates and stuff too to like keep company and stuff. And I have great relationships with those guys still. So, but yeah, I'd say the adjustment was tough for like about 2 weeks, and then after that, it was pretty smooth sailing from there. And obviously the adjustment from like my senior year of high school to college was a breeze because I had already been through like living on my own. So
Yeah.
Was like your decision to go to that academy, was it like influenced due to COVID at all?
yeah, so we're in New York, like we weren't quite sure if we were even going to have a season. And so one of the kids who I lived with last year, I actually played travel ball with on the Lumberjacks for like 2 or 3 years. And he's a freshman at Fordham University now, and he's playing for them. So, but he had kind of like talked to me about like going to this school because he had already decided he was going to go there. And I don't know, are you guys from the New York area, like down in Long Island or whatever?
Yeah, I live in Manhattan, and
I'm
Okay.
in Long Island. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have heard of the Stony Brook School.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
Stony
was
Brook.
there. He was at the Stony Brook School, but he wanted to transfer.
Mhm.
And so he transferred to where I went to school, which was P7 Academy. And he was like telling me like, dude, like you should come here. And the coach with the Lumberjacks is really good friends with the coach from P27.
Mhm.
So he kind of put that, like he kind of set that up for me. And then we kind of talked about it. I talked to the coach for a little bit, and it just sounded like something I was interested in because like the talent there was way better than what I would have faced in central New York. Like, and that's just how it is. So I kind of made the decision based upon that. And then also COVID also kind of influenced everything as well, because we weren't sure if we were going to have a season. I'm like, I have to play because like I went through the whole draft process last year. And I was like, if I don't play, like I'm not going to be on anyone's radar. And like, I wouldn't even have the opportunity to get drafted. So that was ultimately why I made the decision to go. But I loved it there, and I learned so much from the coaches over there. And it was just a blast too, to be able to kind of play with all the guys who kind of have the same goals and aspirations as I do.
Yeah. Definitely. And doesn't the Stony Brook school have Strowmans Brother?
Yeah, he does go there. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's really good too. I've seen him play a couple times.
Yeah. We were supposed to play them for a scrimmage. I'm out way out east, and we're like they're probably the highest division, and we're like one of the lower divisions, but our coaches know each other. So we were going to play a scrimmage.
Yeah.
And it got rained out the day it happened. We never rescheduled it. But we were supposed to face Strowman's Brother. I was like, okay, I'm going 0 for 3 with maybe a ground out. Maybe
he's still young. I'm pretty sure he's like a 25.
Yeah.
25 grad.
But he's still
Strowman's little brother too, which is pretty cool. But so yeah.
Stud. It doesn't matter what year he's grew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, talk about what I know you post a lot about your arm care, and you had at least, I think it was 2 videos about, arm injury stuff, but
Yep.
let's talk about, what you're doing to take care of your arm and make sure that you could still throw 95, 96, whatever you're getting up to,
Yeah,
especially.
for sure. So the biggest thing for me is just like kind of finding out what works. Like there's a bunch of different stuff out there, like programs and exercises that you can like buy and search for online nowadays. But like in reality, like you just got to find what works best. Like if you throw like 100 pitches and like you're a guy who's like, hey, like I want to just get my arm moving the next day, or you're a guy who's like I'm not going to throw it all, like my arm's tired, like you just got to find that out for yourself. So over the years, I've just experimented with a bunch of different kinds of things, and I've just concluded on my routine that I have now. And it's nice to be able to have coaches and other players who have been like through the whole college experience, like this past year, who have kind of given me tips about specific stuff to try and do. So you always just got to keep an open mind and expand your horizons. But the biggest advice that I always give to people is just find what works best for you and like see how your body feels. Because like if you get a program and your arm is just like shot and your arm still hurts, even if you're doing all this stuff that they say, like then you're obviously not going to keep doing that. You just want to find something that is going to make you feel good, and that it's going to prepare you for whenever the next time you throw is going to be. So but I do a bunch of different stuff. I do bands. I have the shoulder tube that I use. I do weighted balls. I don't throw them before I throw. I only use them for like recovery. And then I do a bunch of exercises, stretches, stuff with my hips and everything that I do. I pretty much stretch every day. So I feel like that's another reason why I'm able to kind of throw so hard, is because my mobility is really good. But yeah, that's pretty much it from the arm care standpoint. But like I said, the best advice that I can give is just kind of experiment and see what works best.
Mm-hmm. Max?
Yeah. So like basically, like I'm the same exact frame as you, but I throw like 85 and you throw 95. So, do you have any tips at all? Like just even slight like little things that like your coaches have told you to really help you get the extra miles an hour on your velocity?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's basically a bunch of different steps in the delivery, and you want to kind of be able to like maximum, like I don't know how to put it. Like you want to have the max amount of energy, like at each step that you can create without disrupting the delivery. So like when you're getting to like, for me, like I really think that the delivery starts at balance point, because you're not really like doing anything before that to really kind of like, you're getting ready to throw in like the stages before balance. And like once you get to balance is pretty much where everything has to click and be right in order to throw like the pitch that you want to throw. So like once you get to balance, and then you're pretty much just gonna like drive your back leg and drop your back leg, or sorry, drive your front hip and drop your back leg, and that'll kind of put you in a good position to throw the ball hard and be able to have energy bringing you towards the plate. And then once you land, you don't want to have your front knee collapse. Like it's called front leg block. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that term before, but like when I analyze mechanics of myself or anybody else, like these are the things that I'm looking for. But so yeah, front leg block. When your front leg lands, you don't want it to like fall forward. You want it to stop and retract. So that's how you know that you're not really losing any extra energy, because if you're falling forward, then you're losing a bunch of energy that you created from balance in driving and dropping your front hip and back leg. And then after that, like I really kind of look at separation, like how much shoulder hip separation are you getting? Like, and then normally like from that standpoint, I just like, if you're, oh my God, if your shoulder hip separation is bad, I mean, I just recommend to people to stretch more. But the thing is like everyone is so caught up with lifting and like, oh, like if you gain all this weight, like you're gonna throw harder. Like, no, that's not true at all. Like if you get bigger, you're gonna lose mobility. Like you have to take all these steps. Like you can't just lift and throw harder miraculously. Like that's not how it works. You have to keep up with your stretching, and your nutrition has to be really good, and you have to drink lots of water. Like there's so many steps into like being able to make the jump from like say 82 to 90. Like, but I don't know. I'd say the best way to just increase velo for me, the things that worked were having a really good warm up routine and making sure that all the muscles that you're using to throw are warm and loose and ready to go. And long tossing has been a huge part in me gaining velocity and just arm strength in general, to be able to like hold my velo and maintain like stamina throughout games. And then obviously having a good post throw routine, and like I said, having good mechanics. Like I try to analyze my mechanics as little as possible, but if I feel like something's off, then I'll take a look. But the thing is like if you're analyzing mechanics, like I don't really want to get too caught up with that, because then if I go into practice or like I'm throwing a bullpen, then that's all I'm thinking about. So I just try to analyze them if I really need to, and I really want to take a look at something. But those are the best tips that I can probably give. But the biggest thing is like I just tell people to stretch, foam roll, and analyze your mechanics, and try and find someone to take a look at them for you, because I feel like feedback from everyone else is the most important thing, because you can learn something from anyone, especially like where I'm at. Like I'm playing with a bunch of studs, so I feel like that's the best advice I can give. I pretty much just kind of took my YouTube video and nailed it down into like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so those are the things I kind of give advice about. But yeah, so but it's really hard to make that jump. I know a couple of people who have kind of really had some velo increases over the years, and that comes with like growing up and maturing. And but I'm telling you, like the weight room and being able to stretch and just having a set routine and are the biggest things. And also long toss. I love long toss. That was probably one of the biggest things that has made me throw so hard. And it also like forces you to engage your lower half, because when you're trying to throw that far, you can't just use your arm. You got to use your lower half, and so
Yeah.
those are the biggest tips that I can give.
You gave a lot of great advice there. Like living in Manhattan, it's kind of hard to long toss. So I don't really get the opportunity to do that much, but I have like a question sort of, because I know you probably used to be like a starter mostly in high school, whatever, but now you're mostly in the pen. So I'm wondering if like your routine has changed, and like how did you adjust to pitching out of the pen?
Yeah, so that for me this year has been the hardest adjustment, because I'm so used to having a set routine and being able to kind of just do my own thing before games. And now it's like, and being a freshman, like I've got stuff I got to do before the games that is like my job that I have to do. So I'm kind of always scrambling before games, because I know what I got to get in before I throw. So I'll do my whole warm up routine. I haven't changed any of that. I still do my whole warm up routine, and then like I'll throw before the game briefly, and I try and go out as far as I can, but I don't do like the exaggerated long toss that I would do before start. Because you don't want to be gassed by the time, like if I was going out to start a game, then like I'm kind of building up for that. But the difference in the bullpen is like if I go long toss, I don't know how long I'm going to be sitting down for. So like I don't want to go long toss and then have to sit down and have to get back up again and kind of re-rev the entire thing when I already just threw like 400 feet. So I try and kind of maintain like the amount of time I spend throwing before the game, because I don't know what time or what inning I'm going to have to get up, if I get up at all. So It's just kind of managing the workload a little bit more. And I'm not really, that was the biggest thing. Like I wasn't used to that in high school because I always started. So but yeah, that was definitely the biggest adjustment. But I try and keep everything the same, but little minor adjustments that I had to make this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, I mean, I think that's huge, and I think that shows that, you know, a little adjustments help in each way, because you saw that at the start of your season, it looked like, you know, adjusting, it took some time, and then against Valspar, you pitched 4.
Yeah.
I think that was 4 1-run innings, and that's really where it showed that, you know, that adjustment kind of clicked and things started to really mesh and you know, come into place. And then you saw, obviously, you went on a good tear and you had really good outings to finish the season for sure. And you also started the season off well, but it was just, you know, you could tell that there was that adjustment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, it was still cool to just be able to be a part of the team and just try and help the guys win. So, but there was one point in the season where I was coming out of the pen a couple times during the weekend, which is when I was throwing pretty well. But the thing is like our bullpen, like our coach kind of had a little quick trigger with starters, which I mean, in those scenarios, like that's how you have to be sometimes. So majority of the time I'd be coming in with guys on. And that was also a hard adjustment because like, you're like, all right, like I got to go out there and be super amped because you got to have your best stuff. Like you're like, I don't want to let any runs in and you're already starting from the stretch. So you got to adjust to that too. But like every time I started a clean inning this year, I did very well. But with guys on base, it's always much harder because and nobody out too. Like you're like, all right, I got to find a way to try and get out of this with 0 or no runs. So, yeah, but that was definitely the biggest adjustment for sure was getting used to the pen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, I mean, obviously, you know, as time went on, it showed that you got used to that and you know, your season went well.
Absolutely.
And definitely just looking forward to see what you do going forward. Obviously, you know, you have at least 2 more years of college, maybe 3, and then the draft and what happens in the, you know, baseball,
For sure.
baseball future. So, I mean, there's also with this time limit on Zoom, we don't have really much time to hit another topic, and I don't want to pay $200 for Zoom premium. But you know, that's really all we really wanted to hit on it. I think that went perfectly. So I think, you know, that's really all we have here on the Batter's Eye. Thank you so much for coming on. I want to talk to you. Maybe we could get out to a Yankee game and film, or maybe do some live at bats, film something in person.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. In that New York area.
Yeah.
And then we could get something done. But thank you once again for coming on. Appreciate it. And anything else you want to say? Maybe plug your YouTube one more time.
Yeah, if you haven't already, go check out the YouTube channel. I don't know where you guys put this, like Spotify or whatever, YouTube.
YouTube.
All right, yeah. If you can, just throw it down in the description if you want. But yeah, and check out the merch website too if you're down. But that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys having me on, and it was a blast. It was awesome. Kind of talk through. I haven't really talked through the whole season yet, so it's kind of the first time I've done that, which is pretty cool to kind of like reconcile everything we've accomplished. So
awesome. Well, glad to be that first. Everyone else who has Roman on, you guys are not beating me.
First.
Not first. Yeah, we got that one. Thank you everyone for watching. If you don't mind, like, subscribe, leave a comment on the video. Maybe I'll have you on, read some comments, put that on the Instagram story if you want to something like that. We'll do something cool. Yeah. And I'll put your channel in the description. Everyone go subscribe to that, and I'll have your Instagram in there too. Thank you very much, guys, and see you guys in the next episode.